What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Ace of Base. And as you can see by the title, I've decided to heed the wisdom of the Ace of Base fans. Pascal and a couple others commented that they were looking forward in particular to moving on to the bridge. And indeed, we have many of the bonus tunes, and some of which are, I think, again, I was saying I was going to react to Munchausen, and then there's like a parenthetical, I forget what that is. And Pascal was saying that's essentially a tech noir tune, so we'll come back, we'll circle back and get to all the bonus tracks that are included on the extensive second disc of this like expanded Happy Nation folder that Adam has made available. But I do understand the logic of, you know, going through it in the way that, you know, most people would have encountered it in the original timeline, which is, you know, getting the proper albums, maybe hearing some of the bonus tunes or the B-sides and remixes and so on. But like I said, we can come back for those at a later point. So yeah, we'll move on to 1995, The Bridge. I enjoy the name of the album. Obviously, bridges, conceptually, literally, they link things. A bridge is a part of a musical track, which, you know, fits into that general conception, but is very specific also when it comes to composition. So yeah, it's a cheeky and I think fruitful title for an album. And yeah, ultimately this is a couple of years later than the American version, so technically like 3 years later than Happy Nation. So yeah, ultimately I was aware of the tracks on Happy Nation, the three big hits that I've talked about in a number of the Ace of Base reactions. So presumably nothing on this I know, but again, I'm aware that they were, you know, an international sensation in the mid-90s, so if I end up recognizing one or two tracks on the album, I wouldn't be surprised. So so yeah, the first track is called Beautiful Life. It's a simple phrase. It speaks to perhaps an aesthetic quality, perhaps a experiential perspective, but in one way or another, it is a life that is valuable, desirable, gorgeous in some way. Again, whether that's, you know, in terms of the tenor or the atmosphere of the life lived, or whether it's because of the impact on others around the life in question. And indeed, like, you know, there's some different ways you could express the idea of the life itself. You could be talking about a person and the life they lived and the people they interacted with and the space and the environment around them, but it could also be like, you know, growing up and, you know, working and finding a relationship and ultimately having a child, and it's the beautiful life that you made together, or indeed a life that is made together between multiple people. I feel like there's so many different ways you could go with it. But yeah, ultimately it speaks to some quality, desirability, or admirable nature of a life. So let's find out what that is. This is Ace of Base. The track is Beautiful Life, and it's the first track on the 1995 album The Bridge. This sounds vaguely familiar. It's not like jumping out at my brain, but it's like, maybe I heard this. That keyboard riff.
You can do what you wanna, just seize the day. What you're doing tomorrow's gonna go your way. Don't you ever consider giving up. You will find, oh, it's a beautiful life. Oh,
Oh yeah.
it's a beautiful
All right.
life.
I heard this.
It's a beautiful life. I just wanna be here beside you.
I feel silly now though. It's like, didn't recognize it by name, but it's the chorus.
Take a walk in the park where you feel alone. There's so many things there that's gonna lift you up. See the nature in bloom and nothing.
I like that pace, the tempo.
Such a dream. Whoa, it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life. I just wanna be here beside you.
I love it. So yeah, it's the only thing that makes me feel a bit sheepish is that like I didn't remember it by name, and yet I remembered the chorus once it started, and the phrase is "It's a beautiful life." So it's weird to me that it was buried in there somewhere. Clearly, I did hear this at some point on the radio back then, or maybe in more recent years. But again, it wasn't cataloged by name. So yeah, it's an interesting thing as we go through this album. I wonder how many I may recognize, because right out of the gate, it's like, wow, I don't think I know this song, and then it starts it's like, oh wait, it maybe sounds a little bit familiar. But it is telling that like the opening, it was just like a that that riff, that keyboard riff sounds a bit familiar, and it goes and it gets to the chorus, and it's like boom, instantly my brain's like, oh wait, what are you talking about? Like I definitely know this. So maybe that will happen a couple more times. But yeah, a really cool one. I enjoy the tempo. It's, it has that four to the floor, like, rhythm, and, real kind of driving, tech trance sort of feel. And the tempo, I do enjoy. Again, I like electronic sounding music of all different tempos and styles, but when I got into techno and trance, and to this very day when I mix techno and trance and hardcore and so on, I like some pace, I like some energy. I like to, to rock out, if you will. So, yeah, I enjoyed the energy of the tune. It really had some tempo. So, a cool opener, and again, a song that, as it turns out, I did actually know. So, we'll see how many more times that happens. Once again, shout out to Pascal, shout out to Adam for sharing the Ace of Base. And yeah, like I said, we'll go through everything. We'll circle back and we'll get, all those remixes and bonus tunes. But I am sympathetic to the idea that, for now, let's keep going through the albums and experience that as most people would have. Again, I get it. Some people would have, gone through and got as many of the, like, 7 inches or any of the, like, extra releases. But, for a lot of people, they sort of follow albums. So, yeah, it made sense to me to move on, again, given what people said they were looking forward to. So let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.